At the trial, a Chinese mother living in Chattanooga, Tennessee, broke down in tears as she begged the judge to show mercy on her son, Jason Chun. Through an interpreter, she choked up, saying her son was a good person. However, the Williamson County jury reached a final verdict after less than an hour of deliberation, a decision that left the mother completely devastated. The victim was Jasmine Pace, a 22-year-old community college student who suddenly went missing just before Thanksgiving. Her car was found in a strange neighborhood, several miles away from her home. Her mother couldn't believe her daughter would suddenly leave home without any warning signs. She also couldn't explain the strange selfies and suspicious posts that started appearing on her daughter's social media. When police investigated, they uncovered increasingly disturbing clues: screams in the night, blood that had been cleaned up, a location-sharing message from an unknown number, and finally, a discarded suitcase by a creek. These details gradually revealed a chilling conspiracy. Let's explore these mysterious and gripping criminal cases. Before we begin today's story, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to support us. Now let's dive into today's case. Jasmine was born in 1999. She was kind, beautiful, and loved children and animals. When she was in middle school, she would often babysit for neighbors on weekends. Later, during winter and summer breaks, she volunteered at the local church's daycare. Her family often joked that Jasmine would one day have lots of kids and be a wonderful mother. Jasmine loved baking and painting. Like many young people, she frequently shared her personal life on social media, from beautiful tattoos to memorable everyday moments. On November 22, 2022, Jasmine had a day off from school. That morning, she spent time helping her mother prepare decorations for Thanksgiving. The two of them even discussed hosting a big dinner party. However, according to her mother, after dinner that night, Jasmine left the house without saying when she would be back. That night, her mother received a message from Jasmine saying she would stay at a close friend's place for a few days and wouldn't be home for Thanksgiving. At the time, her mother felt something was off but figured her daughter was 22 and decided to respect her decision. She replied, "Okay, have fun with your friend." In reality, at 2:18 a.m. on November 23rd, Jasmine had still sent her mother a location message. Unfortunately, her mother didn't see the message at the time. On November 26th, 4 days after Jasmine left home, her Facebook account suddenly posted a strange update: "Spending Thanksgiving with my love," along with a selfie of her in revealing lingerie. This behavior was completely out of character for Jasmine. No one had ever heard her mention having a boyfriend, and she was not the type to post public displays of affection online. The first person to notice something was wrong was Emma, Jasmine's best friend. She said the photo was clearly an old one because just a few months ago, she had gone with Jasmine to get a tattoo. However, in the new photo, Jasmine's tattoo had disappeared. Emma immediately called her friend, but no one answered. Later, she received a message from Jasmine on another social media platform saying, "Give me some time, I just want to rest a bit." This message made Emma even more worried. She quickly told Jasmine's mother everything. Hearing this story, Jasmine's mother, Mrs. Katrina, also felt that something wasn't right. She had tried calling her daughter multiple times, but only received a similar message. Using Chevrolet's car tracking app, she discovered her daughter's car was parked in an unfamiliar neighborhood. The location was near an apartment complex called Signal View. When she rushed to the location, she noticed the driver's seat in the car had been adjusted far back, something strange since Jasmine was petite, under 1.6 meters tall. She also had never mentioned knowing anyone who lived in that area. All these details made Mrs. Katrina feel uneasy and gave her a terrible gut feeling. She immediately called the police. However, the authorities believed Jasmine's case didn't yet meet the criteria to be considered a missing person because she was an adult, had the right to make her own choices, and had messaged friends saying she just wanted to be alone. According to the police, young people often act unpredictably. And they heard from Mrs. Katrina that Jasmine's grandmother had just passed away right before Thanksgiving. They speculated that the loss might have caused Jasmine to become withdrawn for a few days. Still, the police recorded Katrina's contact information and promised to try to assist in the search as much as they could. Frustrated by the police's indifference, Jasmine's family decided to take matters into their own hands. They went door to door through the Signal View complex asking for information, but no one had seen or heard of a girl named Jasmine. It was as if she had vanished into thin air. Occasionally, a few friends claimed they received messages from Jasmine's social media accounts saying she was safe. That night, while rereading old text messages, Mrs. Katrina suddenly discovered that on the early morning of the 23rd, the very first day Jasmine left home, her daughter had sent her a location pin. At 2:18 a.m., the location was 110 Tremont Street. However, the message had no accompanying text. Realizing this could be a distress signal sent by her daughter while in danger, Mrs. Katrina was devastated. She couldn't sleep all night. Early the next morning, the whole family rushed to 110 Tremont Street, identified as a 4-story apartment building. They brought Jasmine's photo and continued knocking on doors, hoping to find any clue about her disappearance. But sadly, no one had seen her. In utter desperation, the family even searched through the large garbage bins below the building, hoping to find any clue. Without police help, the building management refused to provide surveillance footage. Only one kind shop owner nearby agreed to let them review his security cameras. Thanks to that, they discovered that around 8:45 p.m. on the 23rd, a white Chevrolet SUV had sped into the area. The driver wasn't clearly visible, but seemed to be wearing a white hoodie. After that, there was no footage of the vehicle leaving the area. It wasn't until Jasmine's parents tracked the car using GPS that they pinpointed its current location. The family's relentless efforts finally brought a breakthrough. A woman living in apartment 220 in the complex shared that a few days ago, one night, she had heard extremely loud noises coming from the adjacent apartment number 221. It was the terrified screams of a girl. The noise was so loud it woke her up. When she looked at the clock, it was 2:11 a.m. Frustrated, she called the police. Unfortunately, no officers came that night. After a while, the apartment became quiet again, and the incident was soon forgotten. Upon hearing this crucial detail, Jasmine's family rushed to knock on the door of apartment 221, but there was no response from inside. They contacted the police again. With support from the building management, the authorities allowed the family to join them in checking the apartment. Apartment 221 was a 1-bedroom, 1-living-room unit designed for a single occupant. As soon as they entered, everyone noticed a strong chemical smell. It was bleach. The room was messy, belongings scattered everywhere, but there was no sign of Jasmine. At that moment, the family felt somewhat relieved, thinking maybe Jasmine had never been there. However, with her sharp eyes, Katrina noticed a crucial detail. On the dining table inside the kitchen, she saw her daughter's familiar small travel backpack. Next to it were Jasmine's ID card and bank card. She screamed in despair and immediately alerted the police, as this could very well be the primary crime scene. The police then decided to proceed with the procedure to obtain an official search warrant. During the waiting time, Katrina refused to leave the apartment building. She was like an ant on a hot pan, anxious and restless. She knocked on every door to ask if anyone had heard anything that night, and then rushed into apartment 221, searching frantically for more traces of her daughter. Perhaps moved by the desperate worry of a mother, the building management did not stop her. According to later accounts, Katrina took a few electronic devices from apartment 221, stating that she needed to keep them as evidence. While waiting for the police to process the warrant, The family also took the initiative to contact the telecommunications provider. Jasmine and her mother shared the same family service plan, so Katrina could access her daughter's call history. They discovered that Jasmine hadn't made any phone calls in recent days. In a panic, Katrina began calling all the phone numbers Jasmine had recently contacted. Notably, on the evening of the 22nd, Jasmine had a phone call lasting over an hour with an unknown number. When Katrina tried calling that number back, the call went through. On the other end was a young man who introduced himself as Jason Chun, a student at the University of Tennessee. He said he met Jasmine through a dating app called Bumble. The two had been seeing each other for a few weeks, but the relationship was still casual and not serious enough to meet each other's family. After hearing about Jasmine's disappearance, Jason appeared surprised and said he hadn't been able to contact her for a few days either. He claimed the last time they spoke was only for a few minutes. However, Katrina knew that was an outright lie. The call logs from the telecom provider clearly showed that on the very night Jasmine went missing, the two had talked for 71 minutes. Over an hour. That was just a few days ago. How could anyone confuse a few minutes with over an hour? Clearly, Jason was hiding something. Jason Chun's indifference and apathy toward Jasmine's disappearance was another dangerous red flag. Katrina repeatedly pleaded with the police to expand their investigation into this man, but it seemed like the authorities still hadn't taken any concrete action. Not until nearly dawn did the police return with the official search warrant, and immediately made a shocking discovery. The true owner of apartment 221 was Jason Chun. The investigation team immediately began a full search of the apartment. On the bed in the bedroom, they found a fruit knife. The room was very messy, with disheveled bedding and no sign of cleaning. In the living room, near a floor lamp, police discovered a few tiny blood stains, barely visible to the naked eye. In the bathroom, between the grout lines on the floor tiles, there were also traces of a red substance suspected to be blood. 11. After applying luminol, police found that the entire living room, bedroom, and bathroom lit up bright red. Clear signs of blood that had been scrubbed clean. They stated that the items in the apartment had many indications of being recently moved. When they moved the bed, underneath the floor was a large fresh red stain. Even the light switch panel bore the print of a bloody hand. This is definitely the first crime scene, one officer stated. At this point, Jasmine's chances of survival were extremely slim. The police also found, in the trash area beneath the building, a pair of white sneakers and a pair of blue pants, very likely clothing related to the case. So where was Jason Chun now? And Jasmine, who was believed to have been taken out of the apartment, where exactly was she? How could the authorities track them down? Police reviewed surveillance footage from the surrounding area and quickly found a crucial clue. On the night of November 22nd, Jasmine's white SUV was seen in front of the apartment at 110 Tremont Street. The car should have gone from the main road straight into the building's parking lot. Around 8:30 p.m. the next day, the white SUV left the apartment and traveled in the exact direction where it was later found, the signal view area. Though the image quality was poor, the video capturing the SUV pulling into its final parking spot faintly showed a figure in a white hoodie sitting in the driver's seat. Meanwhile, a security camera installed at a neighbor's house directly below Jason Chun's apartment captured him entering and exiting his apartment several times during the same time frame. Notably, just 3 minutes before the figure in the white hoodie appeared in the SUV, Jason Chun was recorded by a camera wearing the exact same white hoodie. That evening, after 9 p.m., a vehicle resembling a taxi stopped next to the Signal View apartments and picked up a passenger. Security footage showed that the driver then dropped the passenger off at the apartment complex where Jason Chun lived, 110 Tremont Street. Footage revealed that a man in a white hoodie stepped out of the car and walked straight into the building's main lobby. Other surveillance videos continued to reveal more unusual details. On the morning of November 23rd, Jason had visited a nearby Walmart supermarket. He purchased adhesive bandages, hydrogen peroxide, cleaning products, rubber gloves, and large, thick black trash bags. The following day, he went out twice to a chain of nearby convenience stores. This time, he bought rubbing alcohol and a large pack of kitchen paper towels. Footage at the Walmart checkout counter showed Jason wearing white sneakers identical in appearance to the pair police later found in a trash bin beneath the building. Most heartbreaking discovery came from footage recorded around 6 p.m. on November 23rd. Jason Chun, still wearing the white hoodie, appeared beneath his apartment, dragging a large suitcase. The suitcase looked heavy, making it difficult for him to move. Just minutes later, Jason entered the parking area, and then a black Toyota Camry left the lot, heading straight for the main road. On November 29th, a week after Jasmine went missing, police arrested Jason Chun while he was hiding at his parents' house in Nolensv. Lee. At the time of his arrest, police noted that Jason's right hand and leg were bandaged, indicating he had recent injuries. Soon after, Jason's background was revealed. He was a computer science student at the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga branch. Jason was a first-generation Chinese American, meaning he was born and raised in the U.S. in an immigrant family. At the time of the incident, he was only 22 years old. At his parents' home, police seized a black backpack belonging to Jason. Inside were several handwritten notes. Among them, Jason had documented a timeline of his meetings and communications with Jasmine. According to the notes, their last meeting was on the 19th, and their last conversation was on the 22nd. Jason also wrote that Jasmine had a habit of disappearing without notice and had previously filed a restraining order against her ex-boyfriend. In addition, Jason kept a short voice recording in which Jasmine was described as a homeless person. He also accused Jasmine's mother of being an alcoholic. Notably, in a glass box hidden in the backpack, investigators discovered Jasmine's phone SIM card. On Jason's own phone, police also discovered a photo of Jasmine standing in the bathroom of Jason's apartment, taken the night she went missing. There were also several screenshots of Jasmine's previous posts, though all the text had been erased. Upon verification, all the screenshots found on Jason's phone were from 2 years prior, completely unrelated to the time Jasmine disappeared. Yet, the morning after the incident, Jason still sent her messages and photos, writing, "Good morning, slept like baby? Made myself a matcha." The next day, he messaged again, "Hey, are we still good for dinner tonight?" Despite being arrested, Jason Chun adamantly refused to reveal Jasmine's whereabouts or fate. Later surveillance footage revealed that after leaving the apartment complex, Jason drove to the banks of the Tennessee River. On December 1st, investigators expanded the search area along the riverbank. Eventually, they discovered a large suitcase, bluish-green in color, lying near the embankment. As expected, it was Jason Chun's suitcase, and inside was Jasmine's body. Her body weighed about 98 pounds. It had been crammed into 3 large black trash bags and tightly secured with 2 pairs of handcuffs. The first pair chained her right wrist to her right ankle. The second pair locked her left elbow to her left ankle. One of the handcuffs had been bent and broken, suggesting Jasmine may have struggled violently enough to break the steel chain. A detail that revealed the brutality and violence of that moment. The forensic report later confirmed that Jasmine had been tortured before her death, as there were at least 60 stab wounds scattered across her body. In December 2022, the court held its first preliminary hearing. Shockingly, the judge granted Jason Chun's family request for bail, setting it at $5 million. As soon as this was announced, both the media and the public erupted in outrage, arguing that someone as dangerous as Jason Chun should never have been eligible for bail. After that, police released another shocking revelation. After the crime, Jason Chun had used Jasmine's SIM card to access her banking system and he also logged into her social media accounts, deliberately posting fake updates to create the illusion that Jasmine was still alive. Worse still, on Thanksgiving Day itself, he messaged a girl he met on the dating app Tinder saying, "I think we should start dating officially." These flirtatious messages were sent while Jasmine's body was still lying lifeless on his bedroom floor. By January 2025, the case was officially brought to trial at the Tennessee State Court. The state decided not to seek the death penalty, but Jason Chun still faced life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Jason's defense attorneys argued that their client should not be convicted of premeditated murder in order to avoid the harshest sentence. They attempted to frame the case as a crime of passion. According to Jason's testimony in court, that night the two of them had been drinking heavily in the room. When Jasmine stood up to get more wine, she accidentally saw a message from another girl on Tinder sent to Jason, which made her furious with jealousy. Jason claimed Jasmine smashed a wine bottle and used the broken glass to attack him. Injured and enraged, Jason saw a fruit knife that had been left on the table earlier, so he grabbed it and attacked Jasmine, leading to her death. In court, a woman who lived in apartment 220 on the same floor where the incident happened testified. Because she had called the police that night, she remembered the timing clearly. It was exactly 2:11 a.m. when she heard a woman scream loudly, a sound that was very clear and panicked. After that, she heard footsteps running from the bedroom toward the front door. Based on this testimony, police estimated that the time Jasmine was attacked was around 2:18 a.m., which matched the time she sent her GPS location to her mother. That timestamp was also recorded as 2:18 a.m., possibly her final cry for help. Jason Chun's defense team then attempted to deflect the trial's attention by questioning Jasmine's mother. Why had she entered and exited the apartment multiple times before police arrived to investigate the scene? Did she have a motive to tamper with the crime scene? However, these baseless doubts failed to sway the jury. The defense also tried to exploit conflicts in Jasmine's parents' marriage in an effort to undermine the family's image, but this tactic completely backfired. Both the public and the court agreed that the parents' personal issues had no bearing on the family's pursuit of justice for their daughter. Notably, during the expert testimony, forensic doctors and medical specialists from the state of Tennessee confirmed Jasmine's wounds were mainly concentrated on the left side of her body, indicating that she was still alive when she was handcuffed, and that she endured severe suffering before her death. Crucially, toxicology reports revealed that there was no trace of alcohol in the victim's body, completely disproving Jason Chun's false claim that the two had been drinking for over an hour before the incident occurred. Digital experts also examined the entire phone data of Jason Chun on the day of the incident. The results showed that Jason's claim about Jasmine seeing a message from another girl on Tinder was completely fabricated. According to the data logs throughout November 23rd, Jason's social media accounts did not receive a single message. By the sixth day of trial, the jury only needed exactly 40 minutes to reach a final verdict. Jason Chun was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. When the court reviewed whether Jason should be allowed the possibility of parole after serving part of his sentence, Jason's mother was present at the hearing. She could not speak English and had to rely on an interpreter to express her feelings before the court. The mother choked up, her tears flowing continuously, and with a trembling voice, she pleaded, "I sincerely beg the judge and jury, please give my son a chance to make amends. Give him a ray of hope, a belief that one day he might be able to come home. He's not a bad child, truly a good and thoughtful one." When the judge asked, "Do you have anything to say directly to Jasmine's family?" she shook her head in silence, then, holding back her tears, spoke with guilt and earnestness. "I just want to tell Jasmine's parents that my son made a mistake, and now he must pay for it. I hope Jasmine's parents can open their hearts, give him a chance to reform and rebuild his life. What happened was a momentary mistake. I believe if he is reformed in prison, one day he can still be a good person." Both mother and son cried. Jason Chun chose not to speak in his own defense during the sentencing hearing. But upon hearing his mother's heartfelt plea, he couldn't hold back his tears and broke down crying. However, the final ruling left his mother in utter despair. Jason Chun was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. It was all too late. The family of Jasmine Pace later filed a civil lawsuit against Jason Chun and his parents, demanding $17 million in compensation. The complaint stated that Jason's family had concealed the crime, hid the truth, and even enabled the perpetrator. On March 19, 2025, the media revealed that Jason Chun's parents had reached a private settlement agreement with the victim's family. However, the details of the settlement were not made public. On social media, many users expressed outrage with comments like, "You kill, you pay." If this happened in China, the death penalty would be unavoidable. Jason only getting life in prison is so unfair to Jasmine and her family. Many harshly criticized Jason's parents' way of raising him. At first, people thought the mother was crying for a child who had been wronged, but in fact, she should have prevented her son from becoming a monster long ago. She should have taught him to respect human life. However, some longtime followers of criminal cases commented that such incidents, where a man kills his girlfriend, are not rare here. Many offenders have even been granted parole after serving time. Therefore, it's not impossible that Jason's parents may continue to petition for clemency in the future. And that concludes today's story. What do you think about this case? Leave your thoughts in the comments below so we can discuss. Before you go, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to follow more videos on my channel.